Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. On this occasion, we're talking about a taxing experience in Thailand, or a taxing situation in Thailand. Before we begin, I just want to thank you all for your loyalty to the channel and for your understanding about the topics that I talk about and your feedback on the topics that I talk about, and just to tell you that we're going to keep them coming. But just on that topic of a taxing situation in Thailand, I give it to you straight. I give it to you from my own personal experience. So I'm not necessarily quoting statistics, as I always say. As you probably know, I have 3 YouTube channels. 2 of them are monetized. This one and the Big Picture El Panorama. And I garner an income from those channels. So primarily this channel and the Big Picture El Panorama on a monthly basis. In order to receive my funds, I have to have what's called a Google AdSense account. And in order to have a Google AdSense account, you have to first declare your tax information to the IRS, the US, which I did 2 years ago when I started my first channel, which, by the way, the account is for both channels. So I started the Big Picture El Panorama, and my tax information was accepted, and off I went, receiving payments. And then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks ago, I got an email saying I must furnish my Singapore tax information. So I queried as to why this should be, but apparently all payments are being processed through Singapore for this neck of the woods. So I furnished the same documentation that I did for the United States to Singapore, and they accepted it. But then on the AdSense page, I got a message to say I've changed my country of residence and my account is under review, and there'll be a notification or a decision, or let's say, for want of a better word, made within the next 3 to 7 business days. So that was 2 days ago. So I'm in limbo now. I don't know whether I'm going to get my monthly paycheck it's not a paycheck, but just they put it into your account. I don't know if I'm going to get that now. If there's a problem, I have to go and register as a tax resident in Thailand, and I want to do that. And I've wanted to do that for so long, but I didn't know what way I should go about it. But I've since gone online and I see there's a form you can fill out. But in order to fill out the form, you need a tax reference number. I don't have one. So my wife has told me that she will go with me to a tax office and we'll get that sorted out. But remember, if you're coming to Thailand and you're bringing money into Thailand, or you have an income in Thailand, you are going to be liable for tax in Thailand. And again, as much as I'm aware, it works out about 50 on an income. I know if you bring money in, I think it's 35%. I'm not too sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But on a monthly income, I think it's 15%. Now, that's not too bad, I hear you say. But if I get a donation on YouTube, on a super chat, YouTube will take 30% of that donation. And the United States, the IRS, take 5% of my earnings. So with Thailand and the United States, that mounts up to 20% of my earnings. Now, I've no issue. I've no real issue with this. I prefer to be legitimate, and I am legitimate as much as I can be. I've presented my credentials online to the relevant parties, and I'm waiting for a response. So, my gripe, it's not a gripe, but my thinking is, if you pay tax to a government, you should be able to avail of the benefits of what that government provides with that tax money, i.e. facilities and amenities such as hospitals and road networks and blah, 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 blah. You see, but I don't live in the United States, so I can't avail of any of that. So I might ask myself, why am I paying tax to the United States? This is a question. I know Google is a US company, but I get paid through Google in Ireland, because Google has its headquarters for Europe and Africa in Ireland. And I don't know why I get paid from Google Ireland, because Thailand's not in Europe or Africa, but that's the way it is. So I don't understand why I pay 15% or 5% tax to the IRS. But I've been doing it so long anyway, it doesn't matter, it doesn't make any difference. But if I pay tax, and this is just a question in my mind, it's not a criticism, it's just a question in my mind. If I pay 15% tax to the Thai government, and I'm privileged to live here, and I'm grateful that I'm able to live here, but if I'm paying tax, does that mean that I can avail of a certain degree of social services or a certain degree of public health care? Whatever it may be, I don't know. I haven't researched it. And you might say, well, why didn't you research it? Well, I just make these videos because I feel like sharing the passion, and this is a passionate subject. So that's my thing. If you pay tax, you avail, you benefit from that tax in some way. But me paying tax to the IRS over the last 2 years or so, I haven't benefited in any way from that. And if I decide to move to Minneapolis tomorrow morning, will the fact that I have paid tax to the US government over the past 2 years entitle me to some degree of residency almost? If I pay tax to the Thai government, will that entitle me to some degree of residency, formal residency? For me, I just don't get it. I do get it. I know. Obviously, tax is a way of generating revenue, and that revenue that's provided goes to education and healthcare and infrastructure and all those things. But as I said, why, if I pay tax, am I not free to enjoy the facilities and the institutions and what have you that tax goes to fund? It's a taxing situation. And the wait to see if my documentation that I forwarded, the only documentation I have is the documentation I forwarded to the US. Singapore accepted it, but will Thailand accept it? I have to wait and see. So before you come to Thailand, just bear that in mind. It's better to become a Thai tax resident. I want to be. I really want to be. And I want it to happen sooner rather than later. But remember, you will have to bear this in mind when you come here. You'll have to bear in mind that any monies that you have coming in from abroad will be subject to tax. That wasn't the case this time last year, but it is the case now. So I thought I'd just share that with you. And if you have any comments or any corrections you'd like to make sure you leave it down there in the comment section. And I'll make sure that I bring you another wonderful video very soon. And make sure, if you haven't done so already, click the like button, the share button, the subscribe button, do all those wonderful things. And I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. But remember, I want to say thank you. 6,000 subscribers in this channel now. It's fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, lads. See you again soon. Hello there.